What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the final episode of Comic Book Weekly for the year. Yeah.
I
So
love
not
the pause,
forever,
the dramatic
just
pause.
for the year, right?
Just for
Uh,
2 weeks.
yeah, it's only 2
We
weeks,
taking
but you
longer
gotta make
hiatuses during the summer.
exactly, yeah. So hopefully you guys will enjoy today's show. We're going to definitely talk about like our top 5 comics of the year. We'll talk about our favorite comics of the week, of course, and we'll talk about this week's news. But first, the introductions. Of course, I am Mike Spiderslayer from Comic Book Corner 2.0, and above me I have Kat Comic Uno,
Hello.
and of course we have Brent Fowler from Only Good Comics.
What's up, everybody?
All right. So hopefully everyone that's joining the show today is going to have a good week and is preparing for the holidays. And we already get to see some top fives showing up there already. So that's kind of cool. And we'll definitely get into that. I think we're going to dive into the news, right, Kat?
Yes, we'll do news and we'll do topic and we'll do comics. So we actually had some interesting news pieces that came out this week. Not like a large amount, but I think stuff we're going to kind of dive into. So let's start with the big news piece, which is the new Supergirl trailer. And this has always been a difficult one for me because I am not a big fan of Woman of Tomorrow, but I think it goes back to the people who are like, oh, Woman of Tomorrow, I hate that comic. It's not Supergirl. Okay, it's one movie where it's not Supergirl. I might not like this one movie, but I have the show. I have other iterations. I have the Supergirl comic right now. So I'm not, yelling at the sky just because it's not my Supergirl. It's just like, okay, like it probably is not going to be for me, but that is completely fine. I'll watch the movie and hope that it changes my mind.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Superman. It's kind of funny. Lisa was like, "You could skip the show and we could watch Superman instead." And I'm like, "It's the last show of the year. I can't do it."
Maybe
But
next weekend.
yeah. So she's really excited to see Superman. So we're gonna watch that soon. But I did watch the trailer, obviously, and yeah, it's different. I don't remember if I read the comic or not. I don't.
I
think
read a
did.
few issues, but I didn't finish it.
I
I
might
think
read
I
the
have
first
the
two.
trade, but
Do
I
you
don't
have the
think I
trade?
read it. Yeah. I
Okay.
bought it, and then but I still haven't read it though.
Yeah. So definitely a different take on Supergirl, especially, from the TV show and, from other comic versions of the character. Um, but it's interesting. It's at least piqued my curiosity a little bit just because of how kind of different it is and with Lobo in it and everything. So I'll check it out.
It
I can't say
and
I'm
it seems like they're
excited.
following the comic too, because I
Yeah.
believe Lobo was in that comic. So
Yeah.
I didn't even know Lobo was in it until like I rewatched it a second time because it's very brief that you
Yeah.
see him,
Just like a
and he's like
silhouette almost.
very like in the shadows in
Yeah.
there, I mean, listen, I can honestly tell you when I saw the teaser, I wasn't blown away. Like
Sure.
I wasn't thrilled about, a Supergirl who was obviously, drowning in her sorrows and and
Yeah.
drunk and whatever the case may be. I was kind of like, oh wow, this is like depressing, and it seemed off to me. But like I said, I still haven't read the trade yet or the graphic
Mhm.
novel from it. So maybe I should read it first and get a better understanding of really what it is. But it's different. It's not what I would expect from a Supergirl movie, right? Unless
Yeah.
obviously she changes by the time we get to the end of it all.
I did.
yeah, I'm not
Oh, I'm
sure of
sorry.
that either. Go on. No, I'm Brent.
I was just gonna say I did really like the one line, and I don't know if that was from the comic as well, but that one line where she says, "Superman sees the good in people, and I see the truth." I
Mm.
I did really like that line, and it kind of defines the differences between the two characters in that way. So if they play on that, it could be interesting. But
They definitely had it on the posters, so I think they're
yeah,
gonna definitely be playing on that
yeah,
concept. And it's interesting because I talked about the current Supergirl book a lot, and we'll talk about it this week. It came out, but it is everything I really love about all the versions of Supergirl, and I think this volume of Supergirl gets the mad Supergirl correctly, where it doesn't consume her and that's her only character, but it's still there. Because like you do get it, like Clark doesn't remember his planet, so it's a
yeah,
little easier for him to kind of move
Right.
forward. But Supergirl had a whole life, and I do think this comic that's currently out does a really good job with that, where it's like, here's the silly Silver Age, here's what we got from the modern age, like, 20 years ago, and now we have all these versions mixed together to tell one really cool and prominent Supergirl stories. So, in my opinion, if you want the most realist of realist Supergirls, I actually think this current Supergirl run does a really good job at that.
Very
All right.
cool.
So, one thing I do want to mention, just because I think it's an interesting topic for the week of Absolute Batman, but Wolf Bearer Aggle says the comic book business is fading away. And honestly, from what I'm seeing, it's really growing from the last couple of years. And that's not rose-colored glasses. That's
No.
what we're seeing with numbers. And I'm super happy about that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that statement. I think if you look at 2 years ago, I would say that, yeah, like you
That
looked
could be
at the
true.
you looked at the state of DC, you looked at Marvel was kind of similar the way that they are right now. And, and this is, going back before, like maybe just before the Energon universe and Ghost Machine and all that other stuff. And there were still decent titles, don't get me wrong, but right now, I think we're way stronger than it was 2
yeah.
years ago, for sure.
It's like all the things that happened almost simultaneously. You come out of the pandemic, the shutdowns, and then the Substack stuff, and then Kickstarter blows up, and then all these imprints pop up out of nowhere, and just like now there are so many like mid-size and smaller companies that are putting out stellar comics, stellar work and everything, and just across the board, no matter what format you're reading, whether it's webtoon, Kickstarter, indie comics, mid publishers, Marvel and DC, there's something big and cool going on all over the board. So I don't agree with that statement. I do agree with both of you though.
It's funny because I don't know if I'd agree with this statement either, because Willie said I actually think comic book business is beating regular television outside of streaming, and television definitely makes more money in my opinion.
Well, yeah,
for
more
sure.
money for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you mean content, then obviously that's subjective. But money-wise, business-wise, I would say television's doing better. But
I would argue it was true content-wise, personally, for not
Yeah,
streaming,
sure.
but regular TV, yeah, absolutely.
I agree too. Obviously, for us, we're Wednesday warriors. So, I haven't read this one out loud, so I'm gonna see what this says. But the backpacking Bigfoot said, I think during COVID, maybe people just weren't going to the comic book store. Now that people are back going, picking up books, depending on mail orders. I think it's a little bit of both. I agree. I think it's COVID, but I also think like there's just better books out there. I think it's making the social media rounds. I was just telling Mike and Brant before we went on that one of my friends who likes comics enough that she helps us like pack our comics, but doesn't like watch the Batman show, whatever, but never really read that many comic books, like maybe our books, and that's about it. She's like so into what's going on with the Absolute Batman. She's like, oh, especially the Joker in particular. She's like, oh, I want to see what happens there. So I mean, it's hitting people that are way, and even another friend I have who does not read comics at all, and they're like, have you heard about this Absolute Batman thing? I'm like, oh yeah, like that's a huge deal. So those comics are hitting people that do not read comics, and I think that's a huge deal.
And I've told both of you before, and I think I may have said it on the show before, but like a lot of the people that I follow, like on YouTube and TikTok and different stuff, are younger, and it's younger people and more diverse group of people, men and women. So it's just I feel like the audience has grown and expanded, and it's passing down, and I think that's obviously in part to like all the multimedia stuff, kind of bringing people in. But yeah, and parents bringing their kids into and all that stuff. But I think the industry is in a good place because I think there's more and more people reading comics than I don't know. It just seemed like if you look back 10 years ago, trying to get younger people to read comics was a struggle.
Yeah.
And now it's just like popular. Yeah.
I mean, when you look at COVID, right, a lot of the comic shops were closed. People couldn't go to them. Maybe you had curbside, and so it was hard to get new books. And that's why in 2020 it was that big comic boom, the speculator market, where everything just blew up because we wound up getting checks, and people weren't reading new stuff. So
Well, they didn't have it released for like 4
right.
months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while.
Then you get the comic boom because all the older stuff went up in price.
Mhm.
Everyone's collecting, everyone's trading, everyone's selling. And so now we had to slowly, once the bubble burst, we had to make that transition. So now we made that transition from collecting all the older books and selling them at peak prices to the point where that kind of crashed. And now people are getting more into the stories of comic books where, more people can afford new comics, right? And they want to get into the stories. And I think that helps it too.
Mhm.
There are 2 comments here I do want to read. I think Absolute Batman is the only comic making noise to the audience outside of comics, like the casual person. I've had multiple real life examples. Yes, I'll say that's the one, and Transformers. I'll say those are the
Yeah.
2 that I hear. But when you're into those books and you're really into it, you go to the store and you pick that up. And then your store owner is like, hey, actually, you should check this out. And you're like, wait, I heard about this book. And that's how you make a pull list. Everyone starts with a Spider-Man or a Batman, and then they grow to like other things. And then a lot of people who do like Absolute Batman, and this is someone who's not reading as much of the Ghost Machine stuff, like Geiger, because it kind of has a similar vibe to it. And again, likes Transformers maybe because it has a similar vibe to it. So right now, there's also a lot of Venn diagrams. I do want to mention this too. Gorgeous George says Marvel is so far ahead of the curve. They've been making comics for people who don't read comics for years. I think Stan Lee did. I think Stan Lee made the point to say every issue is someone's first issue. But I'll say, depending on the franchise, like if you're reading X-Men, God bless you. And it's funny, my friend who was watching like my reviews for Absolute Batman, she's like, I'm sorry, I had to skip the X-Men stuff. I don't know what any of that means. And I'm like, I don't blame you.
Exactly. If you read X-Men, it doesn't matter almost like where your jumping on point is when they release new ones. It's like, if you've never read them before, it's like, who are all these mutants, right?
Yeah.
Like, so say you wanted to get an Age of Revelation issue 1, any of the tie-in books. How do they introduce any of those characters? How do they? That's why they can't seem to get it like they used to, because there's so many characters and you don't know where to start with it.
Yeah, X-Men is one of those. It's just like there is no jumping on point.
Well, even Spider-Man, I couldn't imagine trying to explain who Paul is and all these other characters. It's like,
but
Spidey's
I don't know.
easier though.
It's easier. Plus, it's more in the cultural zeitgeist. Most people know the basics of Spider-Man. There's Spider-Man, Mary Jane. There you go. You got that down. But like X-Men, that's a whole different ballpark.
Trying to think if there's another one that I feel like people would pick up and then they would be lost or not lost, the opposite of it. I think Black Cat's a great comic if you are just like, I want to pick up a comic and I don't really know much about comics. I think that does a really good job issue by issue to be like, all right, let's, pick up whatever you want. But yeah, that was a good conversation. So thank you guys. We're gonna move on to Invincible and Spider-Man team up for a reprint with new variants. It's been really interesting to see Skybound in general do so many of these re-releases, which don't blame them if they're making money, like do whatever you got to do. But it's so interesting. They have the Walking Dead stuff that they've been doing in color. They now have the Marvel team ups. It's just an interesting business model that I am not knocking because again, it's easy money, but and people are buying it. It's just interesting because I haven't seen this business model in the direct market. I've seen it through Kickstarter, but not the direct market as much.
I don't have this comic book, so I
think I have issue 1. I don't think I have anything else.
I will be purchasing this, and they've got some cool covers that they showed, and one is I think a Todd McFarlane cover on there, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm all over that because it looks great, and I want to see that team up.
Yeah, same.
Go on, bro.
No, go ahead.
There's a comment, so finish your thought.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say the same, and I was gonna try to show some of the covers, but if we want to move on, that's fine.
No, show the covers, and then I'll answer the comment after.
Yeah, so I think the business model is pretty clever though. Like you said, Kat, it's like they're capitalizing off of it. There's one of them,
and all the interiors have been made many, many years ago. So you really are just making money.
You're just printing money at this point. I mean, that's a good way to do business, if you ask me.
If there's a want, then
Exactly.
then you made a
Right.
business, right? Like if
Right.
no one's buying them, that's different. But it seems like
Right.
people have been buying them, so
Well, think
like go
about
for
it.
it.
There's people that have never read it before, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's a
Yeah.
Ryan Otley.
Yeah.
I don't think this was like it was a. I don't remember if it was a big series or not. Like maybe at the time, but I know I got it in like my back issues for like $2. So like
That's
I
a
don't know
nice
if it was
looking
like a
cover
huge
too.
series. Yeah, the covers are great. I got in the Battle Police blind bags. I know they were starting there, maybe because they have a lot of extras. I don't know what why they did that, but it's cool they did.
That's a Eric Larson right there.
Yeah, that's Eric Larson.
You know, there's the Todd
There's the Todd
McFarlane one.
McFarlane, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd probably get one because if I had read it, I haven't read it in a million years, so I'm interested. I did see a question here, so this is the one I was going to mention from Family Home Run. What about Hulk? Tempted but haven't pulled the trigger. If it's new
Now's the
reader
time to
friendly.
jump on.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
new reader friendly. As Brent, you weren't reading the past series and you've picked up on it, right?
Right. Yeah. I think they did a decent job of just kind of catching you up to where things are at. I mean,
Mhm.
you don't really need to know much about Hulk to jump into this current one at all. So yeah, it's a good point. Good part. Good place to God, I can't talk. Good place to jump on.
All right, let's go into. Let's do Jessica Jones is getting a Red Band title. This was recently announced today, and I'm a huge Jessica Jones fan. I really love the Alias comics, and this is written by Sam Humphries, who I'm also a really big fan of. So, win-win. I'm game for more Jessica. I think they're doing it because it's their 25th anniversary, so that's the reason they're doing it.
And
But
it's
it also
Red
looks like the
Band.
vibe too, and it's Red Band.
Yeah.
The original was too. They just didn't have they didn't
No.
have.
Yeah.
I think it was part of the Max series, which was just
I think it
their
was,
old
yeah.
Red Band.
Right. Yeah, which is, Marble Knights, Red Band, Max. The weird thing about Red Band is they still basically bleep out the cursing and stuff, which I think is so funny.
I
It's
know,
like,
which they didn't used to do.
yeah, they didn't with like the
No.
original Alias and everything. Yeah, you're right.
So
yeah,
and
I'm
they
excited.
also had like graphic sex scenes in the original
Yeah.
Alias. So I'm like, are they going to do that? Are they not going to do that?
Yeah, I do like they've got David Mack back doing covers,
Mhm.
and it's a more painterly style like the original one was. So that's cool.
I think that's going to be cool. I'll
Yeah.
definitely check it out for sure.
Same. I am going to check it out. All right, let's go to DC Next Level. So this is a continuation of what's going to happen after DCKO. We did hear about these comics, but now we have creative teams and everything attached, some more art. So first is Lobo, and that is Scotty Young. So yeah, I mean, all these books seem interesting. I mean, we have Batwoman, who is Greg Rucka, who worked on Batwoman previously. And then we have Deathstroke, which is going to be Tony Fleeks.
That's
And I'm
cool.
trying to see
Yeah.
if there's an artist attached. Written by Tony Fleeks with art by Carmen D. I don't know who the artist is, but I mean, DC, man, they just they're getting it right. I keep saying that, but like Lobo to have a Scotty Young book, that's really cool, works for his art style. Batwoman back with Greg Rucka brings the old fans in. And then people have been loving Tony Fleeks lately, being on such a fan favorite character. Like all three of these books, even Lobo, I would never pick up a Lobo book, but I'm like, why the hell not? I'll try it out, you know?
Scotty Young, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking up that artist real quick because the name sounds familiar to me.
I wasn't sure if it was familiar because of the artist from Marvel who does a lot, who also is named Carmen. So I was like, oh, is it
Yeah.
that? And then I don't think it's the same artist.
Most recent Marvel project is Spider-Man Noir.
Oh, Myers corrected me. Scott Young is writing, but Jorge Corona is doing the art, which also is a very similar style.
That's
to,
still cool though.
Yeah.
That's really
cool, yeah.
fine.
Yeah. And also again, similar style to Scotty Young's style.
Anyway, but yeah, the Tony Fleeks one, the Deathstroke is the artist that did Spider-Man Noir recently. I don't read that.
Oh, did you read it?
I didn't.
I
Have
didn't
you
read
read that,
it.
Mike?
No.
Which one?
Spider-Man Noir.
Oh, I dropped it after issue 1.
Okay, did you like the art in it though?
Yeah, it was all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the artist on the.
It's
Deathstroke
fine.
one. Yeah.
It's not like the best thing I've ever seen, but it's fine.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, let's go on to our next topic here, which we were just talking about this, but Marvel is doing Comics Giveaway Day, and it is just Free Comic Book Day with a new title. And I don't know how they're going to do Free Comic Book Day, if other distributors are going to have different names, if this is just Marvel's name. I'm genuinely not sure, but they
Did
said
it
this
give a
is going to be.
date?
Oh,
May
yes, May
2nd.
2nd. So
Okay,
you know
so yeah,
it's
same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
literally the same thing, and it has the same vibe to it. So what they're doing is that they are doing an Amazing Experiment issue 1000 tie-in, Queen in Black as well, and then they are also doing Armageddon X-Men issue 1, and they have Alien Predator and Planet Apes issue 1. That is so
Wow.
much of a combination. And then they have Spidey and His Amazing Friends issue 1, and this is for first comic experience featuring a new adventure with Spidey and friends, including Jeff the Land Shark. So those are people who, just going into the comic book store to get something for free. I will mention for the Spider-Man writers, you have Al Ewing, Philip Kennedy Johnson, and Joe Kelly. So I'm curious why Philip Kennedy Johnson, because I don't think he's been doing any Spider-Man stuff.
No,
So maybe
but
they're
he's your
teasing.
he's your exclusive Marvel writer now. So
He is, but I'm curious if they're going to be. That means we're going to get another series, Spider-Man series, attached with him.
I got some clarification on this thing.
Mhm.
So Free Comic Book Day is still happening, same day and everything. That's DC, Image, and Archie, etc. Comics Giveaway Day is launched by Penguin Random House, and it's going to be Marvel, Boom, and some other publishers.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay.
I guess just because of the distributor and they don't own the name
Right.
Free Comic Book Day, I guess is
So
the
they got to
reason.
change it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's definitely very, very interesting. And yeah, I mean, again, it's all what you would expect from Free
We
Comic
should
Book
call
Day.
it Comic Books for Free Day.
There you go.
Comic book giveaway.
Free
comic books
day
for
for
free.
comic books. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Actually, the
reword
day
it.
doesn't count
Yeah.
in life. It's just that the day is free. It doesn't count in your overall
Right.
scope
Yeah.
of life. But yeah, I mean, fine. They're trying to make it exciting for us. I hope Spider-Man Venom stuff is exciting. That's probably what I'm most excited for from Marvel, because I want to see MJ and Peter together. But other than that, I mean, it looks like business as usual.
Hey, as long as they have some kind of day that continues giving away free comics, that's awesome. I'm happy about that.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And we get to talk about it.
It always opens up for new readers,
Yeah.
We got Morguz who asks which Hulk is the one to jump into for new readers. It's called Infernal Hulk. So
yeah. There's two
it's
issues
only
out.
in
Yeah.
2 issues exactly. So, and I'm sure your store still has them. I think they're flying off the shelves. Any other thoughts on this? We want to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do Marvel's next huge event is already underway with Wolverine and Captain America. This is the Armageddon things we've been talking about. I've not been reading Captain America. I haven't been reading Wolverine. I might pick up this issue 1 of Armageddon Wolverine, but I don't know if this seems like every other event.
I think if you want to start with Captain America now, the newest issue that's getting ready to come out, I think it's 6. I'm not sure, 6 or 7. Oh God, I can't believe it.
6, 7.
Yeah. So I think it's 6, and I think it just ended that last story arc, and I think this is where it starts to lead up to this whole Armageddon thing. So I think if you want to jump on Captain America, you can. And I'll try the Wolverine thing. I think it's at least they're trying to build up to this event where they haven't in previous events, really. They just kind of came out of nowhere. So I guess maybe that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Not on purpose, though.
Not on purpose. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It is issue 6, and it comes out in January.
There we go.
Yeah. So, it's the only thing that I'm curious about with this, and I will try it out too. I haven't been reading either one of the series either, but it's involving the reformation of Shield, which I kind of want to see how they're going to handle that.
Right.
As well, so.
They did an interesting way in Fantastic Four. I will say that. I like the breadcrumbs they had in that series. It's Chip Zdarsky too, who I usually like. So I think that's a positive. I just don't know if I want to invest in a Captain America. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm not usually a big Captain America fan. So,
Yeah.
but like you said, at least it doesn't feel as random as some of the other events we've
Right.
had. I just don't know if it'll be GCKO. All right, let's get into the last topic, and then we'll talk about our main topic, which is our top 5 comics of the year. But we got Webtoon Reshapes creator focus now more creator focus. And I am on Webtoon. So Webtoon Canvas, I have Slice of Life with about 80,000 subscribers. And then we just launched a new Webtoon called Love a Second Bite. And I will say I've actually seen already the repercussions of this, and a good repercussion sounds like it, but like the but like the positivity of them being more creator focused. When we're at New York Comic Con, we had 3 people that worked for Webtoon Canvas come every day, interview us, give us like free swag, and then they even invited us to their main party, which we got to meet like the CEO of Webtoon from Korea. Yeah, so they definitely like treated us really well, and we got to like meet a lot of people of Webtoon. So I've already seen it that they've been treating creators better. And I'm curious to see how they're going to continue to do that at conventions and in person. And obviously, most importantly, how they're going to pay their creators, because that obviously was a big deal. And that was their big backlash, is that they took away the creator program. That did give a lot of money. We were on the cusp of it. We were only saw that program for a few months, so it didn't really affect our business that much, but I'm sure that affected a lot of people. So I hope these initiatives also help bring traffic to, things that they sell, or, bring money in some way, because I think that is important. But I think this is a step in a great direction, because especially Webtoon is only made out of the creators who make this platform. So I think that's important.
Yeah. No, I don't have much to add to that, but
yeah,
no,
I mean, you said, I mean, it, Kat. So
yeah, exactly.
You're the woman in command there. I know. I just marked it off because I know you wanted to talk about it. So that's kind of like what it. I don't have too much insight about it, but I think in general, Webtoons is just it's a good platform, and it's a good thing for people. Same thing, other ways to get people into comic books. So it's great.
And the only other thing I'll say is anything that is getting creators more benefits and more pay is a good thing. So, yeah.
I very much agree. So I'm curious to see what they're going to continue to do. But again, already from October, they did some great stuff, and I really like the people that work there and got to know. All right, let's go into our top 5. So we're going to do our top 5. I guess I'll take control of this one. Then obviously Mike will do the regular top 5. But let's talk about our top 5 favorite comics of the year. This is tough because even my top 10, I don't think included everything that I thought was great. And I think that really shows how great 2025 was for comics. Like, I remember a year or two ago, it was like a little harder to make the top 10 because like, what books did I love? But this year, there's so many books I love that it was hard to create one.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. It's like one of those things where it's like, I have a end of the year video coming out on my channel on Friday that not only lists these top 5 that we'll talk about today, but it lists like my top comic books of the year and like my least favorite of the year, notable miniseries, like things like that, because there's just so much that was really positive. And so this is just going to be a small sample, but I'll be happy to discuss these top 5 because I think they're very solid comics.
Yeah, and funny enough, also Friday I am posting my top 10 video. So if you want to know what 10 comics I have, I'll be talking about that. So just coincidentally, we're both doing that on Friday.
Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah. So Brandon, do you have any more stuff to say, or do you want to start with your number 5?
I don't have anything to add because I don't have the only thing I have Friday is my regular video, so can't make it a trifecta. But yeah, no, I can start with my number. Well, okay, I can kind of start with my number 5. I couldn't decide between 2 books, so I kind of did a slash on this.
Name both if you want. Yeah, go ahead. We can talk about both of them
because I love them both, and this was hard because the way I did it. I went through like every week for this show. I have a spreadsheet and I list all my books and I rank them every single week and I keep those and I do it like quarterly. So I have one for each quarter. So I went back through that and looked at all the books I have like number 1 and number 2 and just tried to put that into perspective. So that's how I came up with my list. And then I kind of tweaked it based on what I just really love. Right. So My number 5 is tied between GI Joe, which just because I'm a huge GI Joe fan and I love that series, and Feral, which I just a fantastic book that and I hate cats, but I love this
Same.
book. Yeah, but I love this book. It's such a good series. The contrast of the cartoony style with the Walking Dead level of drama and everything. So yeah, I love these two books. So there you
Feral just missed my top 10. I last year it did make my top 10, but again, I think it just shows like how many great books are out there.
go. Yeah,
And I think I also wanted to probably just spotlight a different book. I think Feral could have easily been here, but I was like,
gotcha.
oh, it was on the list last year. GI Joe I don't read, so I don't have comment on that one, but Feral was great. I'll say this year for Feral, I think the reason it was low on my top 10 was that there are definitely parts that were a little slower getting to the pet store, but now that we're there, it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say that I had kind of the same struggles with you, Brent.
Mhm.
But believe it or not, Feral was also my number 5
Was it really?
this year. Yes, it was. Same reason. Like I love animals and
Yeah.
I love when they're in comics and I love seeing their thought process. I love the apocalyptic genre. I love seeing the struggle. I just love everything about that comic book. And
Mhm.
it's just I would never think I would like a book about cats dealing with an apocalypse. I
Yeah,
never thought I would read that. And yeah, like you said, Kat, it probably was on the list last year, maybe, but
yeah.
it continues to be consistent and it builds. It's just like The Walking Dead in that storytelling in so many ways. And there's character growth. Look at the cats already from the very first issues to now. They're a
And
Yeah,
lot
the art
different.
is really consistent. I
yeah,
really like the art
Yes.
style for the book
and
for sure.
and this book and Stray Dogs, are the 2 books that put Tony Fleecs on the radar for me. So
Mhm.
now it's like, because of these 2 books, I'll read anything Tony Fleecs puts out. I'll at least try it, so and I usually enjoy it, so
Yeah, I don't think he's ever even with the Quentin Quire book, I remember I was like, "Oh, I don't
yeah,
like Quentin Quire, but I still like your writing."
right, exactly.
And I remember that. So it's just yeah, he's great. I mean, that Thing book, another one that didn't make my top 10, but was such a good book this year. All right. My number 5 is Runaways. That is complete bias, but also, guys, if you read that Spider-Man book from Rainbow, you see what you're missing because
Yeah,
that's every month we get Runaways is that exact same writing for fans of people who are fans of Runaways. And I always complain about events. If you guys have been watching this show for a long time, you must know I don't really like events that much because it just takes away from the books I'm enjoying or the events kind of
Mhm.
come out of nowhere. And if DCKO didn't just have one issue, it would have been in my top 10. But I really liked Runaways because it tied into the Doom event really well while still telling its story about where these Runaways have been. And like I said, Rainbow just tells their characters so well.
yeah, and I agree, and Runaways is really up there for me too.
Mm,
It's just outside of that top 5 just because it was a mini series too,
yeah.
and it was tied into an event and everything, so I kinda had to take that in consideration, but yeah, fantastic book. Anytime Rainbow's writing the book, it's fantastic.
Great. So let's get to number 4. Let's go to Mike. So what was your number 4?
Mine was Geiger. It's
Mm,
another wonderful book that, again, you guys know I love the apocalyptic books and uh, learning about Tyreek over this series, about his family, about him being on his own, and then I guess, gathering another family. And we think that he's this monster, but he's this guy that still has a heart. And the family that he's developed along the way is cool, man. Whether it's the two-headed dog Barney, Zigzag the zebra, Nate the nuclear knight, and then we come across a glowing woman. The art in this book by Gary Frank is again so detailed. It's just a beautiful book to look at. And what's great about it is you don't know what you're going to get from issue to issue. I think that's what makes this series so well done. So, yeah, just an awesome book, man.
It is an awesome series, and it's another one that's really close to my top 5 and just didn't quite make it, but I'm so glad that I took a chance on this book because, when that first volume came out, I read an issue and for whatever reason I couldn't get into it. But when they came out with this with Ghost Machine version, it just I don't know, just something about it clicked, and it has been a really good series, really strong, and all for all the reasons you mentioned. And I was just thinking as you were talking about all the characters, the alliteration is there. It's like classic comic book stuff. When you were talking about Zigzag the Zebra, Nathan Nuclear Knight, Ashley
There's
Arden,
also
and all
Jeff
that stuff.
Johns,
Yeah.
so it makes
Yeah,
sense
Yeah.
you would do that.
true.
It's
But
so funny that you said that about Geiger because that's why I skipped this volume too. Because I remember reading the first volume, I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, I didn't like the first volume. So I guess I won't pick up the second."
This
yeah,
volume is just
Yeah.
way better. It's just I like the first volume, but this one seemed like it has a true purpose to it, and that's what makes it so good,
yeah.
it's awesome. And I'm curious, man, like I think this issue had to deal with the glowing woman, this
Mhm,
time around. So yeah, it always delivers every time.
yeah.
All right, Brant, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Venom, actually. So
It's a fun one. It didn't
it
make
is a
my
fun.
top, but it's
It
it's
didn't make
good.
my top,
I
but I agree. It's
yeah.
hilarious.
It's just it's one of those that surprised me, right? Because when we first heard about this series and Paul was going to be in it and everything, we trashed it bad, and it was like this is going to be
MJ's Venom.
terrible. Yeah, MJ's Venom, Paul's in it. This is going to be terrible, and it completely flipped on us, and especially me. I don't know. It's a fun issue every time that it comes out. I have a blast reading it, and yeah, that's why it's on the list because it's fun. That's all I really need to say about it.
I think it might if is consistent. I feel like this book will be in my top 10 next year. I think that the reason I didn't quite put it there because it is a relatively new book,
Mhm.
but the art is really good for a very silly book.
Yeah.
And like you said, character work's really good. I agree. It's great. My number 4 is Last Boy from Boom Studios. I think it's Boom. I was really surprised by this. It was a random pickup I got, but it's about Peter Pan who has to grow up, but not in the way you think, right? He's still a kid, like physically, but it's more of a story about even when you're a kid, you have to do things that are adult like. And he sees the world change around him. He sees Captain Hook might not have been the bad guy he thought. Wendy is becoming this writer. And like, again, this idea of like, oh, you're escaping into fantasy. It's like, well, no, because there's plenty of people that are writers and artists. That doesn't mean you aren't an adult. And I like that with Wendy. And there's just a lot of twists and turns that plays with the mythos of Peter Pan that I was just really surprised by. So this one just, again, took me by surprise.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's hard for me to get miniseries to get,
No.
top 5 because they're here like and then they're gone before you know it. So you tend to forget about them. But this was a solid book and it's definitely surprised me. I did feel like I was more invested into like Wendy than anybody in the actual comic. I was so curious with her story and her marriage or her possible marriage and trying to relive that childhood life. Like I enjoyed that aspect of the story. So, but cool pick. I definitely thought that was a surprise comic this year.
And I think it's because every issue for me felt really good. There wasn't an issue that disappointed me, which is why it
Mhm.
made that slot. Because again, miniseries
That's
can
true.
like the last issue really dips or whatever, but like it ended really well. It was a good book. All right, we're moving on to number 3. So let's go to Brant's number 3.
My number 3 is Transformers, and just this is another book that's solid every single issue. There's so many layers to the book, whether it's big giant robots battling each other or the human element or they're dealing with the stuff on Cybertron and the tragedy that they left behind or the conflict within their groups and with between the two groups, the Decepticons and Autobots, the military tie-in, the like this issue, for example, this most recent issue, which we'll talk about later, um, with the mask tie-ins and all that stuff. It's just I don't know, it just keeps delivering. And just when you think it's like it's run its course or something, they pull out something else. It's like, okay, I got to keep reading this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I mean, obviously we grew up to it,
Yeah.
but it's not just us, the old timers that
Right.
like Transformers. The book
No.
is written so well And the credit is due to Daniel Warren Johnson, who kicked this thing off,
Mhm.
and he got younger audience into it.
Yeah.
People that don't really know our generation of Transformers that well. And they find that it's probably one of the best reads out there,
Yeah.
because it clearly explains, the two factions of the Cybertronians, of the Autobots and the Decepticons, and the relationships between the Autobots and the humans, and the battle for, Energon, and just all the cool ass robots and Decepticons, and just everything that goes along with it, and kind of the twists and turns, and just the little Easter eggs, and then the great stories that's going to be ahead that maybe you and I know that others
Mhm.
don't know,
Yeah.
um, just overall, just a fun book. And I look forward to it in every issue. And I could not tell you, as a fan, I don't think there's ever been a down issue for me when it comes to this series.
No, and I agree with you, and I also would argue that this is the best Transformers comic that has ever been produced, and
Absolutely.
I've read them all, like, not
Yep.
every issue of every series, but I've tried every single one of them, and this is the most accessible one. And it's because they scale down the cast. They don't throw 50 robots at you in issue 1 and expect you to follow all these conversations and stuff like previous series have done. I think they've done a really good job of balancing the characters, really slowly introducing new ones, and just kind of focusing on the characters and the story and everything. Yeah, it's just really good.
Definitely agree.
All right, Mike, what was your number 3?
My number 3, this is a very, very tough decision for me. Like, my top 3, I was, like, sitting there struggling, like, and it goes to Rook Exodus, believe it or not.
Mm,
Like,
I thought
Rook
that was higher.
Exodus is, and the only reason why it gets the number 3 spot is because we only got 3 issues of it for this entire year.
Wow,
That's
And
that's
true.
crazy.
I
I
just feel
forgot
like
that.
it's not fair to give this
Mm,
book the number 1 spot when it was on hiatus,
Mhm.
okay.
and, but if it was out all year, it probably would. I think visually, this is the best looking book that's out there, period. I don't even think it's close. I
I
really do
agree.
think so. There's a lot of effort that goes into this art. It really brings this world to life. The story is excellent. It's just a top-notch book, but, we took the entire year basically to to get the next chapter of this going, and, it's not fair to the other books that have been cooking all year long.
Yeah, and that's what's hard about certain releases with a top 10 schedule. Like one of my favorite books of all time is Not Girl, but there was like 3 issues this
Yeah,
year. And then they're like, we're gonna have a graphic novel. And I'm like, well, I can't. I love those issues, but I can't give Snot Girl a place in my top 10 because it just didn't come out enough. And also no one knows what the series is. So all right. So Brant, I know we did your number 3, right? I think
Yeah.
it's my number
Yep.
3. So Exceptional X-Men for me, which is very much a cat pick, but as a Kitty Pryde fan, and if you're a hardcore Kitty Pryde fan, was a perfect book. It really was a love letter to her character. And Emma being thrown in, great art. It was the same artist all the way through. My only nitpick was it ended abruptly because of a
Mhm.
stupid event. So
Yeah.
that was really my only nitpick. But as a Kitty fan, I love that book. And it's what I want the X-Men to be, is like every volume to feel different and for a different X-Men fan. And I
Mhm.
don't know if Marvel's doing that right now.
No. It was
yeah,
a Yeah, it was a good book. I know you didn't read it, Mike, but,
correct.
I I liked again, it's they scaled down a cast, even though it had 3 new characters in it, because
They
you
all
didn't
felt
have
different.
yeah, they all felt different, and you didn't have all these other characters, you had to follow their stories and everything too, so, you had, the Kitty, plot, and then you had their plot, and it was a good mesh of those characters, I think.
All
Yeah.
right, we're going into number 2. So since I have you, Brant, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Superman, and mostly because of consistency. This is just another one like Transformers. Every single issue is good. It's well written. The art is great. The characterization's good. Just yeah, and even when it ties it to an event and everything, it still feels like its own thing. Um, yeah, just so consistent. This book, best
All right.
Superman book I've ever read.
I'll be talking about Superman soon. So hint, hint. Mike, you have any Superman thoughts, or you want to go to your number 2?
No, I mean, I would agree. Superman is a book that I would say is very close to the top 5.
Mm.
Um, but it's one of those books that I kind of overlooked actually when I was putting this thing together.
Mm.
But I would say it's an excellent book. I think Joshua Williamson is the best writer on Superman in a very long time. It made me want to read Superman,
Yeah,
whereas before I was kind of like, oh, Superman? All right, I'll
Mm-hmm.
try it,
yeah,
and that's a big difference,
yeah.
so it's a really well drawn book as well. I like how it ties into DCKO right now, and it's been building from the very
Mhm.
first issue, and I think it's great.
It's actually a flagship book because, like,
Yeah,
obviously, Superman is as much as Batman's popular. Superman is your main guy for DC. So to make it the actual flagship of DC Comics is smart and crazy. They haven't done it in such a long time.
Yeah.
yep. My number 2, and this is again another hard decision. And the only reason why it gets number 2 is because it does take place in an alternate universe, and this is Absolute Batman.
Okay.
This
I think I know what
this
your number 1 is, but yeah, go
this
ahead.
series is just phenomenal. It's so over the top. It's so fun. And at first I wasn't sure about this, but the more and more I've read it and the more the characters have developed and the more we get introduced to other characters, I've enjoyed this series a lot more. Um, I loved the issue with Absolute Bane. I thought just
Mhm.
Yeah.
being how gargantuan that he was, it was insane. I loved seeing that whole buildup up into that point. Now I know we'll talk about Absolute Batman issue 15 in a little while, but it's just been a fun book, and I think Dragota's artwork is great, and I just like how just the bigger the better,
Mhm.
it's fun. It's like playing with a bunch of toys.
Mm.
So I don't know. It's a good book. I enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he continues this story. And what
My only
else does he have
nitpick
under his sleeve though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My only nitpick for Absolute Batman, why didn't it make my top, and it's an honorable mention,
Mhm.
is there are slow issues of this series. And when
Yeah.
they're slow, it's very Scott Snyder slow. But when they're big and again, it's hard because while we're making this list, a lot of the great issues of Absolute Batman came out. So you're like, kind
Yeah,
of forget about the slower issues, but
right.
there are a lot of slow issues in
Mr.
between.
Freeze. Yeah,
So that's why but maybe next year, if it's like as
yeah.
high up as whatever they've
It
been doing now, like keep doing what you're doing now. So I'm
is
really liking it.
it was the same for me. It's like it's really close, and it's another one that made my number 1 several times, but I thought about those slower issues, the Mr. Freeze issues, for example, and just I these other books were more consistent for me, so that's the only reason it didn't make it, but it's really good too.
So your number 2, did you mention it, Brent? I don't think so.
Yeah, Superman.
You did. Okay,
Yeah.
right. My number 2 is Everything Dead and Dying. Another mini series. I guess it's just I like like concise
You like
stories.
contained
I
stories.
I
Yeah,
like it too. We're not done.
I know.
So
It's
it
not
was like
far into it. Yeah.
I just couldn't put it there.
It's hard though because it's one of those series because it's a mini series. You
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to do it next year because
That's
it'd be
true.
too early in the year,
True.
right? So I was
Yeah.
like, I really wanted to put a spotlight on this series because it's been near
Sure.
perfect. It's like
Yeah.
the emotion's been so good. If you like The Walking Dead, again, it seems like a lot of miniseries doing a lot of Walking Dead type storytelling, but it's the reverse Walking Dead. It's like, how about if those Rick and the rest of the crew were the enemies, and this guy who just like wants to live with his zombie family was a main character, and I think they do queer storytelling really well. The artwork is amazing for this book. It's
Mhm.
just a masterclass of writing, and I had to put it there because, like, again, it's like Kill Your Darlings. That also was released in such a weird way that
Yeah.
you're like, it ended in a certain point where you're like, "Oh, if you don't put it in your top now, it's never going to be your top."
Right.
It's
Yeah.
true. Unless they do a volume 2.
I hope
True.
so. I really hope so. I like the series a lot. And then I think I mentioned this last week, but it's so interesting that this is the same writer who writes Batgirl. It feels like such a
Yeah,
different series.
it's such a different series. Yeah. That's true.
Um, Meyer says I have a whack top 10. It's my personal top 10. You know, I definitely I could pick Absolute Batman, but wouldn't that just be everyone else's
You,
top 10?
honestly, some of the lists I've seen out there are books I've never heard of.
Yeah.
So, it's all subjective.
No, and also like I want to put things that are on the map that other people aren't talking about and are again my favorite comics. Like I love Runaways. I want to talk about how great that book is. I think Rainbow is a wonderful writer.
Yeah.
I personally really like Exceptional X-Men because I love Kitty Pryde. So I think these are books that again, I personally really like. And I mentioned Absolute Batman's a great book. Ultimate Spider-Man's a great book. You know, you can mention Transformers is a great book. And with Mike and Brant, they have a connection to Transformers, which is why you like Transformers.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So, everyone, and you'll see my number one. I think my number one is not one to be controversial, and since we're on number ones, Superman, is that a controversial one? But yeah, Superman's been a great book, and it's been interesting to see the series grow because I remember when it first came out, because the way the book was lined up, it had only had 3 issues or a few issues. So I had it like number 10. I was like, oh, this is great, but like can't put a higher. It just was released. Last year, I think it was like my number 5. Great stuff. This year, because it led into an event and because it's just been very consistent, and to have 3 years of being really, really consistent is saying something, which is why it's my number 1. So let's go to Mike. I know that yours was a little obvious that Brant said, but I'm missing the thread of which one it is because there's a few that I think it could. So I'm curious.
My number 1 is The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
I'll say if you pick that, they're all subjectivity is out the door.
The Adventures of Paul. No.
Honestly, that might be your number 1, but then Venom would have to be there.
It's actually Transformers.
Is it really?
Yes.
Okay, I was wrong. I thought it might be beneath.
What did you think it was? Ultimate Spider-Man?
No, I thought it might be Beneath the Trees where nobody sees.
That's a good one too.
So same thing.
Yeah.
It's a mini series that's not complete. And as much as I like it, and like I said, I go more into depth of other books in my Friday video, and I will talk about a lot of these other books, but being that it's a mini series, it just can't make that top 5. But it is Transformers. Transformers, again, just like we said, it delivered every single issue. It's a very emotional comic for robots. And whenever a writer can hit those emotions, you got something going right there. So that's why it was my number 1 pick.
Gotcha.
So Brant, what was your number 1?
Well, I'm breaking Mike's rule, but mine is Rook Exodus. It's just it's my favorite book out, right now.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. It has we talk about Transformers and G.I. Joe and stuff being nostalgic for us. Rook Exodus feels like it could have been something that I would be nostalgic about. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It has elements of all those classic things, all just wrapped up into one. So yeah, it's just such a good story.
I do want to reference this comment because I think this is exactly why we do what we do. So Zadar said, Comic talk about Runaways made me order trade paperback earlier last week. Can't wait. Literally, that's why we do this. Like there's so many times on our own show, like Mike will recommend something and be like, you got to pick this up. A good example, and this is like going to how things go full circle. Specs, when Mike read Specs, he's like, I really think you'd like this, Cap. And then same thing for Brent because he ended up reading it. I ended up working with David Biller to make his own comic for my publishing company. And because I read that book, so like it ends up going full circle. Just, you never know. So that's what we try doing here. And that's like what I was saying earlier. Like we love talking about the big books. We're obviously going to talk about Absolute Batman. You guys love talking about Transformers. But it's the smaller books too. It's the things that are the cult classics. Like I know, one that Brant recommended a few weeks ago was the Guy in the Chair. Beneath the Trees, honestly, Mike, you were one of the first people to talk about that series before it was popular. So yeah, that's why I think these top 10s are important, and why you should talk about the things that you really like, because other people might pick it up, which I think is really cool. So that's a great comment. I'm really glad you got to pick up Runaways, and I hope you enjoy it, because I think it's a great book. And again, if you really like that Spider-Man comic, that's like a perfect example of her writing. All right. Before we jump in, I do have a Kickstarter, so I'd like to talk about that, and then we'll go into comics. And there, I was telling this to Brand, but I didn't have a ton of books this week. So, Mike, where were you at with your comics? Or like, I think
how many?
Yeah, how many did you have
this week?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I think I had 17 to read altogether.
Okay.
Sounds about right. 18 to read. I'm trying to think, like 7.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, 17, 18, like that's not bad for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Kat, I got some of the Age of Revelation books that I probably shouldn't have and wish I hadn't. If I hadn't gotten those, I probably would be about the same as you.
I had about, I think, 11, so it was a little smaller than I've been getting. All right, let's talk about some Kickstarters here. We got Slice of Life. It's about an anime character comes to life, falls in love with a high school cheerleader. So that's the current Kickstarter. I also want to mention my newsletter, because I did, again, we've been talking about these top 10s a lot. Let me screen share. We've been talking about these top 10s a lot, and I did a top 10 Kickstarter article. So if you're looking for indie comics and you want to check out the best of the best for comics and Kickstarter, check it out. I also have an exclusive video on here. So if you like comic, and want content that aren't comics, my friend got me around the world mystery box. So I got to taste like different snacks from around the world, and I made it exclusive to the newsletter. So if you're looking for content like that, I thought it was fun. All right, let's get into our top, our big books and everything. I was like, what are we talking about?
Like,
we just talked about our top. We're top 5. That's not year.
Top 5 of the week.
Yes,
that's what we're trying to do. That's what it is right there. All right. So here we go. Top 5 comics of the week. We're going to kick things off here with Ultimate Spider-Man issue 23, the penultimate issue. Lord knows how they're going to close this thing off, because we got so much shit going on in this comic. I'm like, good Lord, we wait till now to do all these story threads, right?
Yeah.
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Especially, I think I can almost defend the Kingpin and Spider-Man stuff, even though, like, at least pretend he's dead until the end of the issue, because that was like, oh, you didn't really need to reveal he was still alive. But his son, that's the part I'm like, you could completely cut this whole arc out, because it just doesn't feel like there's enough time to tell that story.
No, I agree with you. Sorry, I was all over the place there trying to interject, but no, I was interrupting both of you, so I was apologizing.
We're always interrupting. So
yeah, I know.
We're all used to it. So if anyone's like, "Oh, they're interrupting," it's like we're all okay with it, because there's 3 people and sometimes delays.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was just saying, piggybacking off what you said, Mike, throwing so much out there. It's like they waited until now to just kind of, give us everything all at once, I guess. I don't know. It's crazy, because like the past few issues have just been like really slow. And then you get this. It's just all over the place. Yeah.
Last issue, you're dealing with Chinese food. And then in this issue, you're, you finally get Spider-Man fighting and him acting like a Spider-Man character, like he's not down or out, he's fighting for his life here. And, it's not a bad comic, but there's just a lot of stuff going on. And now we have 1 issue left, and they got 48 pages to wrap that whole thing up. And so now, is Hickman going to end this on a high note, or are we going to be disappointed? Right?
Has Hickman ever ended a book and it's been satisfying though? Because I'm not genuinely
when does he
I don't know.
actually end the book?
Yeah,
think about it.
I don't think it will.
Often,
he doesn't. He usually leaves it.
Yeah, exactly. He leaves.
He
So we
starts
never
something and never
truly
finishes it.
finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That's why I think it's gonna be an open-ended thing. Is be like whoever wants to
Mm,
take it, I guess. Because like that's the thing that's been confusing. Because Marvel's been like, no, the Ultimate Universe is ending, but it also doesn't feel like it's ending. So I'm like, are they just saying it's ending, but it's not, and they're just gonna like refurbish it with new creative
yeah.
teams? I genuinely not sure. I think it'd be really stupid for them to end it, but also again, the new, the PR seems like they are ending it. But then,
Yeah.
like you just said, Mike, this doesn't like there's so much up in the air. How could you possibly end this?
Right.
Yeah. So this was in response to your number one, Mike.
Mm.
Have you thought it would be Ultimate Spider-Man? And this is kind of exemplifying why it wasn't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because,
On any
it,
of ours.
yeah. So, months ago, we were like raving about this book. This was the best book on the stands and everything. And then it just kind of died. And then they announced they were killing the universe. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how can you put that on your list when they're, the way that they treated it? You know what I mean?
Right. I agree
So,
100%.
yeah.
Carl Collection says, wasn't the end to Ultimate Spider-Man a bit of a surprise for the creative that makes satisfying ending so difficult? I actually don't know the
Yeah.
backstory of that. So
I don't
maybe
either.
I'm not sure. I thought this is where he wanted to end it, but I could be completely wrong.
All right. Well, let's move forward. Let's talk about speaking of Transformers, we got Transformers issue 27. So in this book, you would think that when it comes to the Autobots, they're finally regrouping, right? The funny thing is when you got Jorge Corona's artwork in the last series, the Autobots are all beat up, it's all dark and gloomy. And now you got Robert Kirkman taking it over with Dan Mora, and it's like, all right, it's the next chapter. It's like season 2, like of the cartoon, and
Yeah.
the Autobots are regrouping, they're repairing themselves, they look clean, and now we
Shiny,
get the new characters introduced for the next season, because you do get introduced to new characters. You
yeah.
wind up getting Braun winds up coming back, Trailblazer winds up coming back, right? I
Bulkhead.
know there was some Sideswipe makes his way back in there. So
Yeah.
there was quite a few characters that we haven't seen in a long time, right? They're all G1 Transformers. We do
Mhm.
get that. Jeff Fire makes his return from his his where he was just stuck in jet mode the entire time. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of little things going on, but I still think it was handled well. We do get a little revelation with Ultra Magnus
Yeah.
and RC going on in this comic as well. And also wasn't the last we saw of Shockwave too. So he makes his return in there too. So overall, though, I thought it was great. And I think Dan Mora's artwork really shines in this issue where he's like, okay, I get to clean up all the Autobots here.
Yeah. They had that splash page of Optimus when he got his repairs and he's all shiny and classic looking and everything. Yeah. And I also appreciated that they kind of stuck to their guns with Bumblebee and they
Yes.
showed him like with a hole in his chest. It's like
Yeah.
there's not much we can do for him. He's done. So it's like okay, they went into the series saying they're not going to focus on Bumblebee because he's had so much focus both in media and the previous series. Like he was the leader of the Transformers in a previous series and different things like that. So I appreciated that. I respect that. So yeah, they threw more characters at us, but like you said, I think they did a really good job of still balancing it, not kind of overwhelming us with, hey, Bulkhead this and Blaster that and this and that. It wasn't like those conversations we've seen in previous series. It was
Right.
still very contained, very scaled down. And then we also had the mask thing. We had a Matt
Oh,
Tracker
yes.
reference. Uh,
Yep.
Miles Mayhem was arrested.
Yep.
And we're gonna lead into that. I think that's gonna spin out into its own series now. That's what it seems like
Absolutely.
it's leading to. So yeah, just exciting stuff.
Absolutely. All right. So now we're going to move into this was the most highly anticipated book, I would say, of the week, probably of the year.
Yeah. More than I would even say the DC Marvel crossover. Again,
Yeah.
maybe I don't
Yeah.
know if it has many body. Well, we talked about this last week about like the second issue didn't even like sell as much. So,
Right.
who knows what the perspective of that was. But this was like people were going crazy for it.
Yeah.
For all
Absolute
good
Batman
reason.
issue 15 here,
Yeah.
the origin of the Joker story. So that's what this one was about. Now, Here's what I would say. If you were thinking that Batman and Joker were going to fight in this, I mean, you're
No.
mistaken, and that would be a mistake.
Mhm.
You want something like this to build, kind of like the Bane story. And if you get this building, it's going to be one awesome fight when that time comes,
Hmm.
right? So here you get to learn about the history of Jack Grimm, and is it really a lineage of family there, or is it just one character, right? So you're led
Most
to
likely the
believe,
second because
yeah,
he
you're
was
Yeah.
led
a
to believe that he's like this
vampire.
weird creature that
Yeah.
Yeah.
gets kids to like, I don't know, he drains kids' blood, or I don't know
It was
whatever
weird.
it is.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
I thought this was really interesting because of the ending too, that he is an exact mirror image of Batman,
Yes,
that he
Mm.
just
is,
the evil version in a
rich.
way.
Yeah, and he looks like Bruce and he looks very different from Joker because the Joker is a skinny guy who the reason he is so much of a villain to Batman is because he is his complete opposite. He's wacky and, not controlled, skinny, not buff. There's all these things that make him different than Batman. So to see a character that is very similar to Bruce, I think is a really cool twist, and why we want Absolute in general, why it works is because I don't want to see Joker of what I know,
Yeah.
because I could read that anywhere, but I
Right.
want a different Joker. And I really like this issue. I'm also really surprised it didn't feel like an exposition dump. It really flowed well,
Yeah,
and I thought it was a good issue. And I agree. Like I think if you've been reading comics for a long time, you knew this was gonna just be an origin story. But I
Yeah.
think if you were just on the hype train of Absolute Batman, you might not know. But I mean, I think it was pretty obvious when you pick it up that Batman's not even really seen in this issue.
Yeah. No, but like you said, the exposition as it were was handled in a really interesting way with Alfred telling the story,
Mhm.
mhm,
which made it more compelling, made it more interesting, and you know, kind of going through the history of this Jack Grimm character was you could see where it was headed, and at the same time, it was just like you got excited reading it, or at least I did,
just
kind of
got
waiting.
darker and
Yeah,
darker.
it got darker and darker, and you're waiting for the ultimate reveal, and then you get to that point, and it's like, okay, this is what we're dealing with here. This is very different than any other Joker we've ever seen
Sure.
before, and I'm here for it. I'm excited for it. So,
A lot of people said in the comments that this Joker looked like Violator from Spawn.
mm.
Do you know who Violator, like,
I
what he
know.
looks like?
I'll look him up.
No, I know the name.
Yeah,
You're-
look him up real quick, and then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, they look a lot alike. I'll say
and
that he looks bigger, the Violator than Joker, but I could see
right,
the influence.
and then
Oh
they also
yeah,
said it's like DC's version of, like, Venom with the big
yeah,
tongue, so it's a
Mhm.
crossbreed between those 2 characters like that.
But it also just
yeah,
looks like if you read Scott Snyder's American Vampire, which is one of my favorite books of all time, it looks a lot like his vampires. Like
Right,
they look a little, not the American vampire, but like some of the older vampires and some of the other like spin-offs, I guess.
uh-huh,
They looked like that. So I think he also is just like something about Scott Snyder, if you read a lot of his work, he also just plays a lot with like history, and that's something that was really felt in this book. So maybe there's something historical
right.
in horror that he took inspiration from. I wouldn't be surprised by.
yeah.
So yeah, it definitely plants the seeds on what's to come with the Joker. So hopefully, as time goes along, that builds up. Obviously, nothing there. So yeah, exactly.
That's Violator.
there's other images that you see. Some people make
Yeah,
them more skinny. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, there could be some inspiration there,
Mhm.
Could be.
Obviously, same with the large tongue sticking out, like that's a Venom thing, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Um, but there's definitely seeds being planted there, and we're taking a break from that because now we're going to do the crossover with Absolute Wonder Woman, and then
right.
then it goes to Absolute Batman. So looking forward to that going
That's a
forward.
cool follow-up to Absolute Joker too, because like, how do you make it exciting if you can't have Absolute Joker again? It's like, why not do a little crossover? I thought that
Mhm.
was
Right.
a really cool plan.
Yep. All right. So then let's talk about our number 5. So what was your number 5, Kat?
Mine was Court, the new Tom Taylor all ages book. I like it because I think it's a true all ages book. I think anyone could read it and have a fun time. And I think they explain the setting and their world really well through character. So I just thought this did a good job at that, just exploring more of the characters and this world. Again, in another week, I don't know if this would have made my top 5, just because usually I do have a little bit more comics, but I stand by this as a really solid series. And it's a good palate cleanser if you're reading
Sure.
some like Absolute
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah.
That was my number 5. No one else
Yeah,
reads
so
No, I
Quark,
read
or
it. Yeah.
did you
yeah, no,
watch it?
sorry, Mike. They like I don't know if it was me or if it was you. Like you almost froze there for a second.
Oh,
So,
that's weird.
but when it came to this issue, I like this issue better. It seemed to set some things up a little bit, especially towards the end. You found out what was going on with the grandmother there, and then you find out the bad guy in this issue as well. And I liked seeing the characters kind of come to grips with everything and the relationships. And one of the characters, like felt like he wanted to be alone, and he had one of his
Mhm.
friends going, you don't have to be alone, you can come talk to us, we're here for you,
Yeah.
and I like that element of the book. It's got some good emotion in there. So like you said, it's a good all ages book, and it's a fun read.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with all of that.
And
No
it's
way.
a series I thought I would have dropped a while ago. And it's
Yeah.
fun that I still feel like, oh no, there's like so much more left here that
Yeah.
I'm curious
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you got, Brent?
My number 5 is sorry, I was in the middle of rearranging them because I made a mistake. I was trying to
Like,
figure out. My
you're
number
like, did Absolute Batman come out? I gotta add
no,
that.
but that is funny. That is my number 5. For some reason, I had it reversed with something else, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
that is my number 5.
Gotcha. My number 5 was what was it? Oh, Spider-Man and Wolverine. What are we on? Issue 8.
8? Yeah,
8.
Is
Yep.
this an ongoing? Like, what is this series
I
now?
don't know.
I
I
don't know
don't
either.
know, to tell you the truth. But I don't care. It's just fun. So same like Camelot. It's like a palate cleanser for me.
Mhm.
It's a fun action series that reminds me of 90s Spider-Man and 90s Wolverine. They're always doing some cool battles, over exaggerated poses. And in this issue, you wind up getting to see Reed Richards, who has the Spider-Man he's from a parallel universe. And at the end, they're trying to destroy this Wolverine mashup character, Wolverine Spider-Man mashup character, and it takes place in Doctor Doom's land, was it Latveria?
Yeah.
And they come across some other mashup characters. There's like uh, a Panther Hulk. There's
Mm,
a Thor Namor character. There is a she Psylocke. So it's She Hulk, but it's Psylocke mixed.
mm.
And these characters look great, man. I was like, oh, dude, that's so awesome. And so I just had so much fun reading this book. And it's just a fun book to read, man. It's cool.
That's cool. I don't read
It's
it, but
it
yeah.
sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that it kind of reminds you of like when you were a kid on why you fell in love with comic books before. Like, we didn't critique them when we were kids. We loved
Yeah,
looking
Mhm.
at the pictures, and that's kind of what this book reminds me of.
gotcha. Okay. I was just gonna
And
say,
sometimes you need that palate cleanser. So it's
yeah,
like
you do.
get it wherever you can.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't read it, but I was curious about it because I saw that they were doing that Arachnex character or something.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
that's cool.
All right. So now we move on to where are we at here? We're on to DCKO Wonder Woman versus Lobo issue 1.
That was a
Yep.
weird one, man. The
I
one thing I
liked
want
it
to
though.
say,
Did
the
you?
Yeah,
did you like it?
I thought it was fun. Yeah,
The sexual harassment jokes almost every page was so much. I was just like, I did not like it. There was
okay.
just that's the part where I was like, I know it's Lobo, but like this is Wonder Woman. Like I feel like she'd like kick him in the nuts, and she doesn't
I
really. She wins, but
yeah, I like the creativeness or the creativity of the the battles, the rounds that
Mhm.
they fought. You go from wrestling to gladiatorial to all over the place with playing chess and different things. It was just crazy and off the wall, and I just had fun with it. Aside from the obvious that you mentioned there.
But also, I will mention, like, I know it's specifically because it's Lobo. Like, I'm not
Right.
saying you can't do that, but it was almost like every page, I'm like, do something else, man. Don't you have another magic trick that makes you a bad person? I think that was the part that just like took me out of it. I just thought the dialogue was very strange.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it more than I did. I think it was the issue. And also, I will mention this is written by a woman. So it's like, it was also written by Joelle Jones. So, like,
Yeah.
it is I'm sure she was trying to do something with it, but it didn't land specifically for me.
Mm.
I didn't like it. I mean,
You
it
didn't
was
like
all
it?
right,
Yeah.
but I was like, I didn't like after you saw the Superman and Captain Atom one, and
Mhm.
then I read this, I was like, oh my God, this is completely
Yeah.
the fight for me wasn't very eventful. The way Lobo won his round, I was like, he's just punching her in the face and like she gets knocked out. And then it's like, how is she able to summon her friends to face off against Lobo? I'm like, that's not fair. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. I'm like, it's supposed to be a version of you, not your friends that gets selected. So I was a little bit messed up with that. Then I didn't want to see New 52 Lobo. I'm like, that's the last thing I want to see.
See, that was the
Right.
one thing I thought was the cool joke because I was
I
like,
thought it
they
was
made a
funny,
joke
yeah.
about it. So I was like,
I
ha, ha,
get
ha.
it.
Right.
I was just like, "Oh, really?" And then the end, it was kinda like, "Well, I'm gonna sit here and talk, and we're gonna have, like, these chains wrapped around us," and then Wonder Woman just shoves the sword through him, and I was kinda like, "Okay." Like, I don't know, I just thought it was and I wasn't a big fan of the artwork either, and so there was just a lot that wasn't there.
Just
It wasn't
3
like
different artists in this
yeah,
Yeah.
book,
it
by
just
the way.
Yeah.
it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't, like, nearly as good as the first one for me.
Okay. This was my number 6, by the way. This is the one I had switched with Absolute Batman by mistake.
But you know what's interesting though, and I always say it, like, I like weeks and we all agree, great. But like, I do like when we have these conversations and
Yeah.
see different perspectives. Because Zadir just said it too. It's like, oh, I saw a comic and it was only one talking about that topic with Lobo. It's like, because it's different perspectives, right? Like, you could like something that was really cool from it. Like, I could be like, oh, that turned me off. Or again, it's all just subject opinion. But
Yeah.
don't feel bad it was your number 6 just because
Oh, I don't.
yeah,
I
because you're
had
like,
fun
oh,
with
the
it.
number 6.
I had a blast reading this
Yeah.
book, so yeah.
And I hope more, like, I want to see more diverse ones too, because like
Yeah.
this was really different from the Captain Atom one. It wasn't particularly for me, but
Yeah.
because it's so drastically different, maybe someone who didn't like Captain Atom is going to really like this. So
Right.
I like that. I don't want it to all be cookie cutter either.
Right.
True, yeah. All right, let's move on to everyone's favorite webhead, The Amazing Spider-Man issue
Sometimes.
17.
Can
Oh my gosh, dude. Like, I hated
we
this
talk about
issue
the ending?
so bad. What even happened?
Well, in the end, he
Oh,
wants
he's
to go
like, I
back
want to go home.
Yeah, I wanna go home.
And then it's
Yeah.
issue 2.
Don't you want to go home? Like, listen, do you know the best thing about this comic book was? Not that it ended, but I actually liked seeing the relationship between the female and him. Like, I actually like how they are compatible.
Mm.
But then you get Peter who opens up his mouth, and it's just like, God forbid if Peter can have a relationship for 2 seconds, they're like, sorry, I just kissed you and I didn't want you to think that we're gonna be boyfriend or girlfriend or something like
Yeah.
that. And
That was
it's
a little
like,
unnecessary, yeah.
Especially because
come
he's in an
on.
open relationship. Like, your girlfriend is sleeping with other people. You
Do you
can
think the alien chick is gonna give a crap about your somewhat companion? And I
Yeah.
like how at least they said, you know what? She's like, hey, that's fine with me, but they didn't even have to go there with that. Why couldn't they
No.
just
That
share an
annoyed me
intimate
too.
moment and just
Yeah.
have a relationship with each other, be good friends, whatever the case may be? And then it got to that space crap where she's like pinned down and shit. And I'm like, what is this? All
Yeah.
the other characters that are in this book, they were barely even in it. It was just a waste.
I agree. I think they need to pick a lane. If he wanted to go home, tell us why. If they wanted a romantic relationship, focus on that. If you just want this to be an action issue in space, do that. And I don't think they knew where they were going in this whole entire part of, honestly, the Spider-Man series. And I think that's why he wants to go home, because it's just like, well, what am I doing here? Good question. I don't know. And it's just so funny because like the Norman Osborn stuff, I'm just so much more invested in. Like I just
Yeah.
like, because it is what I signed up for Spider-Man. Like I really wish they took a superior Spider-Man route, and I just don't see Peter, because there's
Yeah.
other books where I do see Peter. So like I don't
Right.
need this story.
Exactly. He
Yeah.
should have just been, we said it before, he should have just been left out and just focus on Norman, Ben, whatever it is, dealing with Peter not there.
Yeah, my issue with it too, or another issue that I have with it, is like he left Earth and everything because he couldn't beat Hellbent, right? He didn't think he could live up. He couldn't protect the people. He was beaten down and all this stuff. But he goes to space and is just fighting bad guys anyway. It's like you're doing the same thing. You're not taking a break. You're not, wallowing in it. You're just going out there and fighting different bad guys. So what, you know what I mean? So it's in that way to steal a Tevye line. It's pointless.
And
Yep.
sometimes, we always fight like, is it? Is it? And this is the one series I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe it is. And again, obviously, being a little jokey, because I do know
Yeah, of
that people
course.
do like this side, but for the three
Yeah.
of us, it's not what we signed up for.
It should not be two separate books. That's
Mm.
because that's what it feels like.
Or it
You-
should be,
Or it
and
should
make it actually two separate books.
All right, let's move on here. And so we got Geiger issue 19. So this one focused on Ashley Arden, and it was kind of a cool book because it dealt with like kid trafficking,
Mhm.
and she teaches these kids how to use guns, how to take out these people. I thought it was a very like, it was an excellent book. It was so
Yeah.
well written. I loved how the humans, the males, were just like so terrified of her.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, she's like, well, what did I just do? I just gave children a whole bunch of weapons,
Yeah.
you know?
Am I a hero or a monster too? Yeah,
Right,
I like that.
exactly.
Yeah, and that reflection of hers, and then, um, like I don't know. There was just like the moments where she was attacking, like the one guy that was about to, uh, you know, take advantage of the little girl, and she interrupts and says, "Why don't you hug me?" And like that kind of stuff, like burns him to a crisp and all that
Like
stuff. And
melts him. Yeah.
yeah, it was just intense, and it sounds like we're simplifying it, I think, but her inner monologue throughout this whole thing was just really good. It was really
Yeah.
poignant. It was, she talked about how this was her when she was younger. She was in the same exact position and all this stuff, and so she wanted to make sure that nobody else, got in that position and all this stuff. But she wanted to teach them how to take care of themselves and not just be their hero and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
then you get the ending, the epilogue as well,
Yeah.
which was
Yep.
yeah.
It's all crossing over soon,
Yeah.
man. I can't wait. That's gonna be absolutely insane, but such a phenomenal book once
Yeah.
again. And it shows you like you don't even need actually Geiger in there. And Gary Frank does return on the art in this one, and
Mhm.
it just, you can see the difference in it when
Yeah.
Who was
when
the
he does
artist
the art.
before?
Oh, it was the last issue. It was just a fill-in artist.
Oh, just for
And
one issue though.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like 2 issues that he did
I
it.
can't remember who
So
it was.
It's so interesting to see
yeah.
that with indie comics too, because indie comics have become so big, like the big two. You do see those villain artists, but I feel like they're scared to take the hiatuses they used to do.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. All right. So with that being said, let's go on to our number 4. Go back to Kat. What's yours?
Mine was the Infernal Hulk issue too. I like the action, and I like the different monster in the setting of Namor, even though I hate
Mhm.
Namor. He was fine in this. But no, I really like the ending too. I feel like we get an even more peek behind the curtain of what's going on with Bruce. I just liked. I think the monster story was just as good as what's going on with Bruce, which I didn't get as much in that first issue, but I think the second issue remedied for sure.
Excuse me. I really like this issue once again. And I'm telling you, like Nick Klein makes this series. He
Mhm.
really does. And just seeing him wake up this monster and Namor kind of be like, well, whatever, and then the next thing he knows, he's going to get his butt beat if he's not careful. And I do like how I like the ending too. I just like with Bruce, he's like kind of living you would think his best life because he's like, I'm not the Hulk now,
And who's this woman too? Like, is
Yeah.
she gonna
Yeah.
play a bigger part? I don't think it's Betty, but she looks a little
No.
similar to her.
Right.
I think she's a normal gal, but also like, what happens to her then? Like, there's
Right.
definitely this life he's living that's gonna crash, And then what happened to
Obviously.
Charlie too? Because
Yeah.
that was in the first volume, and we don't see where she is.
I
think-
loved.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I love that he took the name David Banner because that's like a nod to the TV show, the 70s
Yeah.
TV show. Yeah.
Yeah. I lost my thought.
You were thinking about Charlie.
No, you're
Yeah,
good.
Charlie.
You're good. Oh shit.
What's
it's like
happening to
right
her?
there. I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
They'll
Yeah,
come back to you.
they'll come back. I'll talk about it later.
Sorry about that.
All right. So that was what was it? Your number 4?
Yeah, that was my number
Cats,
4.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, bro?
Mine was Aquaman number 12.
I
That's
didn't
mine
pick this
too.
one up, so I heard
Okay.
people really liked it though. It was a good battle.
Yeah.
It was a really good battle between Hawkman and Aquaman, and both of them leveled up to like god level in this. And you at first you couldn't tell who was going to win. Like Hawkman beat him, and somehow he comes back and he's pulling water out of outer space and all this crazy stuff. And the art was absolutely stunning in this book too. Absolutely love the art.
Aquaman won both rounds though.
Yeah, but it looked like he was going to be beat at first.
Oh yeah. Like
right?
yeah.
Like he
'cause-
was down. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like he was gonna lose, and then boom, and then
Right.
away, once again, boom, he took him out again. I'm like, damn, Aquaman just like kicked his ass.
Yeah.
And you just would not think that he would do it, but this book really showcased how strong Aquaman has become
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
he's basically beaten a god at this point.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and like you said, like I like how they respect each other as heroes and practically, each other like godlike level and things like that, but they got to do what they have to do in order to save the world,
Yeah.
But do you guys dislike that in every battle so far, it's been the really obvious picks? Because this one, Aquaman won, last one, Wonder Woman won, Superman won. There
Yeah.
hasn't been an upset.
So I wouldn't say like, yes, I picked Hawkman to win this one, but I'm not disappointed or
Because who
not
wants Hawkman to move
because it's like I
forward?
understand Aquaman because if he's been powering up, and my thing has been now that this has been out, if a hero has its own series, I have a feeling it's going to win.
Mm.
Right. So it's and then if you have the ones that are just single issues, I think those are the ones that are kind of up in the air.
Well, like Zatanna
Yeah.
and
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, I have no clue who's gonna win because either one
Right.
is pretty powerful. So I'm like, all right, like
Yeah.
that could be anyone.
Yeah. Exactly.
I was disappointed with the Wonder Woman one. I
No.
honestly didn't think they would make her win also. So there's where I could say I was disappointed. I can literally say, and I did not mention this before in that Lobo and Wonder Woman book, it did accomplish one thing. Being that I did do the bracket, I was on the edge of my seat, sitting there going, oh, is Lobo going to win? Because I picked Lobo.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then when I saw Wonder Woman win at the end, I'm like, oh, God
I think
damn
it's
it.
a little
I was like
frustrating.
watching a sporting event,
Yeah. Because
So-
again, it's just like, it's like the Patriots winning. It's just like, oh, the Lakers won. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
all right.
That
Saw
is
that.
true. Yeah. I would have loved to at least see one or two like underdogs kind of pull out a victory, but yeah.
And maybe it will later.
Maybe.
Obviously, not every heavy hitter can win. So we'll see. But
I mean-
that's been my biggest disappointment of DCKO so far. It's just there
Yeah.
hasn't been that many surprises.
We're about to
Right.
see Cyborg versus Swamp Thing, but it's in a Titans book, so
Right, so you know where
Something
that's
gonna
Cyborg is going to win now.
Right.
yeah? All right. So let's move along. So we talked about Infernal Hulk. Let's talk
No.
about
that was our
The,
number 4s, right?
oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
So I don't think
Oh.
you did your number 4. Yeah.
My
This
number
was
4
Aquaman
was
too.
Aquaman.
Oh, okay. So you're both
Yeah,
Rob.
yeah. So it
Okay.
was the
So
same.
it's just you. Yeah.
So, and then we talked about Aquaman. We talked about Infernal Hulk. So we just go right to The Darkness then,
And I
issue
didn't pick
1.
this up because I never read Darkness, but then also B, I didn't love the Witchblade series. So I'm really curious what
Mm.
you guys are gonna say about it, if it was worth the pickup or not.
So I can tell you that for the money, this book gives you a lot of story.
It does.
Um, and this is a reboot of The Darkness, but it
Mhm.
does stay true to pretty much, I would say, in very many ways of the original, if I remember correctly. I
Mhm.
didn't read a ton of The Darkness when I was younger.
Same.
Um, but they do give you a lot. They introduce you to the character, who he is, how he was like adopted through like the mob, and he has this infatuation with women. It's very much shown in this comic book, and it shows how he becomes the darkness, the factions that are after him. Just there is a lot that goes into this comic book, and I was almost at the point where I was like, man, this is a lot to take in, but it did a pretty good job. And it's a stunning book to look at.
Mhm.
And it does warrant a second consideration for me. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, it surprised me too, and I like you, Kat. I read a decent amount at the beginning of the Witchblade series, and I fell off of it probably
I
around
think
like
we probably fell off around the same time because I read a good chunk because I've read a lot of Witchblade in the
yeah,
past, so that was easier to jump into.
right. And so I was curious about this one, but I was worried about that same factor too. And they did have Sarah from Witchblade in there, but just on a
Mhm.
panel. He sees her, they recognize each other, and then it goes back to his story just to kind of establish they're connected in some way. But yeah, like Mike said, it had so much uh, you know, content in this issue, and it catches you right up to who this character is and what their status is right now and everything. And it was a really nice book to look at. There was a lot of action. There was, a good amount of like conversations with between different characters and stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely give it another issue as well. So
What what
better
this
than I
could have
expected.
been is
Yeah.
this could have been easily like 2 issues or
Yeah.
3 issues, but
Yeah.
they just gave it to you all in one story, which I think I can appreciate because it gave you time to um get to know who the character actually is, right?
Yeah.
And the supporting cast here. So I think they did the smart move by doing it this way.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All right, so then let's move on to our number 3, and I'll start with you this time, Brant.
Mine's Geiger, so we already talked about it.
Awesome. Kat?
Mine was the Minor Arcana. This is a definition of a really under the radar book. It's a very, I don't know if I describe it as slice of life, but it has a slice of life tone where it's a lot about the characters. And in this issue in particular, we've had this like waitress character for a while who's been friends with our main character, has gotten to know our main character, and her brother's been missing for a lot of the book. That's been kind of her main concern. And her brother was a drug addict, probably is working with the mob. And sorry, there's some background noise. And he actually is part of this world that she's been going in with the tarot cards, and we see him very skinny, and you're like, okay, what's this going to be about? Like, how is it connected to the psychological stuff as they've been building this kind of more slice of life story? And it's always good. It's a really good character piece. So if you like Jeff Lemire, you'll love this book. If you don't like Jeff Lemire, you'll continue not to like this book.
Unfortunately, like my shop doesn't get this book and I keep forgetting, like I've forgotten to put it on my pull list, right? And so now I've fallen behind on it. So it's like, oh shit. So now I'm like 3 issues behind on it.
I'll say
So
it's also an easy series that if you missed issues, you could just kind of jump in.
right,
Like this issue in particular, I don't think you need to read the last couple issues to get into it. But
right.
that's a hardship with some of these indie books, especially indie books. And even my comic book store said like there are specific books that could be very popular, right? Let's say a Monstrous he was mentioning, and that was a very popular book with Image. He's like, oh, it's Monstrous issue 49. There's 3 people that buy that. But when the trades come out, a lot of people end up
Yeah,
buying the trades. So this
exactly.
might be a better trade book in that regard. But I also like reading single issues. I enjoy going
Me
to the
too.
comic
Yeah.
store and doing that. But also it's
Yeah.
hard when your store doesn't have it. Like my store's pretty good with that because they're a larger store, but I know yours is a little bit of a smaller
Yeah,
store.
my
So
shop is like they'll order like issue 1, issue 2s of
right.
indies, but then once the sales start dropping off of them, they'll start getting less and less copies, and if they don't sell them, then they just won't even bring them anymore unless you put it
No.
on your pull list. And so sometimes when you're at the shop and it doesn't come out that week or whatever it is, you forget, and so that's sometimes what happens with me, so it is what it is. It happens.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of almost a easy way out of not reading a series
No,
anymore.
yeah. Especially if you're not like clamoring for it. You're like, oh man, I miss it. Like you're not thinking about it. So obviously it's something
Right.
that probably could slip through the cracks for you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So that was your number 3,
Sure.
right?
Mhm.
On Brant
I think Brant did
Yeah,
yours.
it's Geiger. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Geiger. Okay. So and then my number 3 was Geiger also. Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Me and Brant are just like on fire today, man. All right. So here we go. Let's move on. We're going to talk about Supergirl issue 8. I think me and Kat read this
Mhm.
one. This book was great. I thought the
I agree.
artwork looked better in this issue than in previous issues. Is it different artists or the
No, it's
same?
believe it or not, it's the writer of the book is the artist. So it's the same
So
art.
it looked cleaner. I
I
don't
think
know
it's
if
the
the
coloring,
colors were
maybe.
different.
I agree. It looked great. Like I again going back to like books that are really under the radar. Please pick up this book. It is like fantastic. If you love comics in like the history of comics, this is so good. This has to do with a robot that showed up fucking 50 years ago, and they're like, let's tell the story about
He
that.
like leaves her behind. Like she had this robot that kind of would fill in for her while she went on missions to fill in as uh Linda, right?
Mhm.
Uh and then she's like, "All right, well, I'll see you later." And she thought she would power down and she never powered down. So she's sitting in this tree for 50 years and she comes out and she's all like mangled up like this zombie robot. And she like kind of like tries to tackle her and everything. But it wasn't even about that. It was about the holidays, on how
Mm.
the holidays are very joyous occasion for a lot of people. But for some people, it's a very sad occasion because they don't have their family around, and this reminded her of like obviously Krypton has exploded and
Mm.
she was old enough to remember everything that happened, and so she misses her family, so it's kind of a depressing time for her. And then when you had this robot, it just made everything worse. It's like she completely broke down because of this, and it was a very emotional issue, but I really enjoyed it.
Me too, because it is exactly what you said. It's really human. It's about seasonal depression, but it does it in such a way that is so Supergirl. And it was what I was saying about the trailer. What I don't love about the trailer and what I don't love about Woman of Tomorrow is what they succeed here, because she's still angry. She's still unhappy that her family died, but the way she deals with it, it feels more nuanced here. It's not just like, I'm gonna get drunk and be angry. Here it's like there are many emotions, and then her leaving someone behind, all while she's making this new friendship with this girl who was a villain. Like there's just a lot of great stuff in here. If you like superhero comics, I really, really recommend you give a chance to this. It just seems like such a skippable book to people, but like I promise you, it is so every issue I've been really happy with. And honestly, if there's more issues, I think this would have been in my top 5, but it is a relatively newer book.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so let's go to, oh man, Iron and Frost issue 3.
I was so disappointed with this issue because I
Yep.
liked everything else. And then we got this, and I'm like, well, where does this bring us?
Nothing. It's done. She's
Yeah.
like
That's
dead,
it.
I think. And that was kind of it. And he's a robot. And it was just like that's what you get when you have a 3-issue miniseries where you only have so much time to tell a story, and you make Iron Man a robot, and you make, Emma Frost a diamond formed where she has no heart, and eventually she's going to die. Like, I don't know. I didn't like it. It was horrible
No.
ending.
It was, yeah. I
Nothing
don't know
to
what else to
say.
say about it. Yeah, it was terrible. was
And
terrible the
War
way they
Machine
ended.
dies. Like, how depressing
Everybody
is this
dies.
comic book?
I
Yeah.
know. It's just like I don't
And
know.
it's
It was the only one that was okay. It's like, what did this event do?
and it's like the whole thing was to send this warning back, and it was just like a email that's gonna get lost somewhere. It's just like, what did that help? That didn't help anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yep, there was that one. And we're all gonna forget about that now.
Oh, easily.
All right. So
Forgettable.
what's our number 2, Brant?
Well, it's actually the next book we were going to talk about. It's kind of funny. All New Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider issue. Is it 5?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you liked it? I mean, it was
I liked it. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying to remember what happened because
It's
it's
the
in
one of the
prison when
first
they
books I
had to get
read.
the symbiotes out
Yeah.
of prison.
Yeah, when they got and nobody would listen to her plan. They
Yeah.
thought that her plan was stupid, and it ended up being the plan they went with. Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that she had the whole supporting cast of spider characters in there too, and I like the ending where she gets the band back finally and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So
I like
yeah,
that ending too.
felt
I
full
I just
circle.
thought though this ending was a little predictable.
A
It
little
It was
was.
rushed.
like, "Hey,
Yeah,
let's go into the prison," and then, it's obvious that they're gonna stop the symbiotes and
yeah, of
they'll
course.
save the day, and the one part that I didn't expect was the end with getting the band together, the ex-girlfriend. I thought that was kinda cool, and so,
Yeah,
it's like, "Alright, we're getting things back on track here for Gwen, so we'll see where it goes from here."
Yeah,
yeah,
I felt the same way. It missed my top 5 because it was a little bit, it was a little
yeah,
quick, but I still like this series and I still had a fun time
Sure.
reading it, even if it's even if there's a lot of coincidences, the characters are fun and seeing those characters together was fun.
That's
yeah,
what I would agree on with
Mhm.
Brant for sure is, like,
yeah,
the interactions between the characters. That's what made the last issue so much fun with me for me, was,
yeah.
like, Gwen interacting with Flash, and I hope Flash, like, stays in this book because
Hmm.
I remember when they first went into the prison in the last issue, and he's just like she's like, "So I didn't know you had a catchphrase," and he's like, "I don't." And she's like, I forgot what it was, but she like
Yeah,
mimics it, and he's
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I guess so," you know? So it was funny, and that's what I liked about it. So hopefully, like again, he continues to be in that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too. It looks like the next couple issues are gonna be because I'm looking now. There's Battle of the Bands, so they're gonna focus on the band
Yeah.
stuff, and it looks like that Green Goblin Gwen is coming back. So that was
Okay.
like a really
Oh,
long time ago. So
Yeah.
interesting.
she's gonna come back. That's exciting because I really liked her character.
Yeah.
All right, Kat, what was your number 2?
Mine was Absolute Batman. We already talked about it.
That was mine too. Mine was Absolute Batman as well. All right. So with that being said, we're gonna dive into our number ones and then go into the most anticipated. So my number 1, once again, was Transformers. So we
Mine
talked
too.
about that already.
Yeah.
And what about you, Kat?
Mine was Supergirl. I was as a Supergirl fan, it's everything I wanted. So
Good
I
book,
was
yeah.
happy. Brent,
And
I don't know if you fell off of it or what your Supergirl journey was, but I really think you'd like it. Like if you picked it up.
I didn't like the first issue, and I never read past that.
It I think read this issue and see how you feel because
Okay.
it's just like read such like a Brant book and I'm like, how's he
Yeah.
not picking this up?
It
I
is
know.
it's another one of those like guilty pleasure books for me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I call it too. I just feel like it's a book that I wouldn't normally read, but then I get it and I'm like, oh, I actually like this. But
Yeah.
do I tell people about that? It's like, but it's
Tell
good.
people so people
It's
buy it
Yeah.
because it is great.
But I do
it's
feel I do, you know?
No.
yeah. It's funny because every month y'all talk about it, and I'm like, why do they like this book so much? Because I really didn't like that first issue, and I was just like, it's got to be all like that, right? But
No, it's
maybe I'll
definitely
try it
like
again.
the first issue pressed you with that villain, but like
Yeah.
I think read this issue and see how
Okay.
you feel. We didn't
Okay.
stray you for everything dead and dying. So I think
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all usually, if you're telling me something I don't like, it's true. So yeah.
especially just like I know your tastes, and I'm almost
Right.
like, yeah, this is your taste, man. Like
Yeah.
Infernal Hulk, I don't know if I would have been like, Brant, why are you not reading Infernal Hulk? Like I like
Yeah.
it, but that doesn't mean you're gonna like it.
Right. That one's more like it could go either way. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
All right. Well, I think that's all of our books, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So on to most anticipated then.
Yeah. And this is the last week until I don't know what happens with comics. 'Cause I'm gonna ask him tomorrow. I'm like, do you pick it up? Because I don't remember. Like, I know there's always an answer, and comic book stores do differently. I'm like, are you guys gonna sell it Tuesday? Am I gonna go on Thursday? Like, what are you guys doing with the comics? Are you guys open Christmas Eve? You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I don't know
how are
what
we
my
reading our
store's
comics
doing
that
either.
week?
They might be like closed. I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
They
I
might
don't
just
know.
say, "Hey, you go come get your comics on Thursday." So
That's my
Right.
I
feeling. It's gonna be available
honestly,
Thursday.
that's why it's like I'm
Probably.
taking off
Mm.
just in
Yeah.
general from YouTube for the most part for the holidays because it's like the holidays this year are right in the middle of the week.
Literally.
It just messes with the whole schedule anyway. Plus, I got
Mhm.
family here, so
Yeah.
it's just a good time to kind of relax and get ready for the new year, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. So with that said, let's go to you, Cat, first with Batman Superman World's Finest. Why are you picking up this issue?
So the last issue, which I do recommend this arc, the last issue you see Joker and Superman, Lex Luthor teaming up. And I was like, oh, let
Okay.
me pick that up. That sounds interesting. And in the last issue, they combine to become one person. And you're like, I kind of want to see where that goes.
They're gonna wind up I saw the cover for this, and they're gonna be like Batman and Superman unite. Like they did
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
character before.
Right.
They've created that character. So you're gonna have mashup characters face each other in that issue,
That's
I just
funny.
think
which is
that's
gonna be
kind of
cool.
cool. Like, that
Yeah.
sounds fun.
That does sound fun. That's cool. Okay. I might have to check that one out now.
Just read
Uh,
the last issue because it does
right.
connect. But other than
Okay.
that, you're pretty set. And the last issue was good. I think it was in my top 5.
Nice. Okay. And then Mike's number 3 is a book that I did not include just to be different. So we'll talk about G.I. Joe number 16. And this is the beginning of the end of the Dreadnought War. So
Yeah, I
How
think
long is this war?
it's only 5 issues.
I
5
just feel
issues.
like every
Yeah.
week we're talking about this
Well, because
It's
it's
because it's
war.
bi-weekly, yeah.
It's bi-weekly, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the
that's
reason
why.
why. I'm just like, I've
Yeah.
heard this many times now.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna talk about it too much because
Yeah.
we know what we're getting out of this, but
Yeah.
it's just a great book, man. I
saw-
absolutely love this.
I saw an article that they're introducing a character in this issue. Let me see who it is. I don't think it's a spoiler because they announced it, but let me see if I can find it. What's his name? I'll get it. You guys talk more, and I'll get the character. Just give me a minute.
Okay. So the cover has Duke and Cobra Commander on there. Their shirts all ripped off, all muscly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
kinda
know.
weird.
It's
But,
Roadblock. I found the character.
Oh, Roadblock.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big character.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's who The Rock played in the movie. So,
Oh, okay.
That's a big character. It's a major G.I. Joe character, classic character. So that's cool. We haven't seen him yet, so that's awesome. All right, so let's go to my number 3, which is an Image Comics title, which is called Wrestle Heist, and it's
That's definitely a you.
yeah,
Definitely a you
yeah.
comic.
I think
That
it's
was
like
that was a sleeper pick for me on my top 10 most pulled.
okay,
So I went all the way down on League of Comic Geeks searching for a book.
yeah.
You know when that was ranked? Number 72 on the list.
That's hilarious.
It's got like
It's
400 pulls on the list.
it's the same writer, believe it or not, that wrote Devil on My Shoulder.
I just saw
Oh.
that. That's really
Yeah.
cool. And who did Peacemaker? I recognize the name.
Right. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's interesting though, but it's a weird concept that the art is really cartoony. So I want
It's
to
a
try it
fun
out.
concept though.
Yeah, it is a fun concept. Yeah. So
See,
yeah.
Brand, this is one if you're like, all right, this is because again, I'm not initially picking this up, but Brand's
Yeah.
like 5-star book. I might have to get this issue.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely let you know if it's any good. So, and you're trying it then, Mike? You're gonna give it a shot?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had it.
Okay,
I put
cool.
it on my FOC a month
Nice.
ago.
No,
Okay.
let me know if it's good. I'll give it a read if it is.
Yeah.
Even though we're
So-
not doing the show, it's still nice to read cool
Right.
books.
Yeah. So for anybody out there that hasn't heard about it, I'll just read the description real quick because it does a better job of like, describing it than I could. A former pro wrestler who has a brush with death thanks to a crooked promoter assembles a crew of fellow wrestlers he screwed over to rob him blind during the biggest wrestling event of the year. So basically, they're pulling off a heist during WrestleMania. So that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I mean, that's still pretty fun. It's so
Yeah.
interesting with John Cena leaving, like how many
Yeah.
people are coming out of the woodwork as like huge wrestling fans. Like I was watching a video of Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Cannot pronounce his last name right now.
Chalamet? It's something like that.
Chalamet, he's a really big wrestling fan. He
I
kept
didn't know
talking
that.
about like, yeah, he was talking about like nitty-gritty stuff. He's like, yeah, when they're in the Hammerstein ballroom, like, you know,
Oh, wow.
he was like
knew the-
really
Yeah, he
going
knows
at
wrestling.
it.
Okay.
I was like, that's cool that you like, because I know he likes sports a lot. Like he's like
Yeah.
a very big sports guy, but he's like going crazy about his WWE knowledge. I was like, oh,
That's
it's cool to see other people passionate about like something very specific and niche, which I do like
Mhm.
seeing.
yeah. No, that's really cool. And it's cool for me to find out people like wrestling.
Right.
I always feel so alone. Nobody I know like in my circle likes wrestling. So it's like
If you want to hear something, I was playing Call of Duty last night because that's my me time, as everyone knows if you've been watching the show for a long time. And there's the speakers that people use like on their remote that you can mute if you want or you don't. And this guy was watching the John Cena battle in WWE, so I'm just hearing it as I'm playing Call of Duty. So I'm like, I guess I'm watching WWE out of not out of my own will, but here I am. So that guy on PS5, he likes WWE too.
yeah, he just had his last match ever this past Saturday. So yeah, and he lost.
I heard people weren't happy about that,
but it was his, it was his choice. He wanted other people to go out on top over him.
That's
so
cool.
That's
he seems like a cool guy. I like that.
Yeah. All right, so moving on from all the wrestle talk, let's go into all three of our number 2 pick, which is a book we talked about earlier in the show, which is Everything Dead and Dying, issue number 4.
I think it's a penultimate.
Penultimate, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a great book. I hope I could stand by my top 5 pick and it's not a horrible issue.
The ending of the last issue was sad, dude.
Yeah.
It was.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So we'll see. But
Maybe
probably
he
gonna
finds his daughter. Maybe the daughter's still alive.
I feel like because
Maybe.
there's 2 issues left, I feel like she might be. We didn't see a body. But I mean, that's what I love about this series. I genuinely
away in
don't
the
know where it's
river,
going to
though.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I have no clue
Right.
what the story's gonna be, right?
Right?
It's crazy.
We did have a question here. Did you guys see the leaked Doomsday and Spider-Man trailers? I heard they were leaked.
No.
I didn't see it.
No.
I have no want to see something that isn't for my eyes. Because it's not ready for prime time. So am I going to judge something when it's not a real trailer? I'm good.
Yeah. It is what it is, right?
No.
I don't like to watch a whole lot of trailers anyway, because
Same. I just saw Knives Out this weekend. I didn't watch a trailer, didn't know who was in it, and I liked it that way because I didn't even know what the case was, and I'm like, oh, that's fun. I didn't see anything.
I haven't seen a trailer either. I saw it pop up on Netflix. I'm like, oh, we got to watch that, but I haven't watched any of the footage about it yet. So that's cool.
Go in blind. I think it's even more fun. Yeah.
I agree. All right, so moving on from that, let's go back up to you, Mike, with Exquisite Corpses number 8.
This is ending soon. I always ask this, but I feel like I never know what issue it's
I
ending
don't
at.
know when it's ending. I thought it was like
13
13 issues.
13.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah. So last issue ended off with a literal bang. Like there was this huge explosion. The feed went out. You don't know what killers got killed or fighters got killed in there. The owners of the fighters don't know. So it's left on this just huge cliffhanger. And that's why I'm so excited about this comic, because it's just they're changing things up a little bit, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And there's a new it says a brutal new playing field is revealed. So I'm curious to see what that means exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a lot of reveals in this issue, so I'm really curious about that as well. All right, my number 1 is Supernatural number 3. Just I want to see how long this book can kind of keep going. Because
this anything like the TV show, it could be forever.
I know, that's what I'm so curious about, how many issues can be solid, because I think the first 2 issues were really good. And this issue though is dealing with zombies, so I'm a little on the fence with it. We'll see how they handle zombies in this, but yeah, I'm curious about it.
It's Greg Pak, though. I feel like it's gonna be
Yes,
consistent until he leaves. I
right.
think he's usually a pretty consistent writer.
Yeah. So as long as it's good, I'm gonna keep reading it because I love Supernatural. All right, and then finally, Black Cat #5 is Cat's #1, which we all read as well.
Well, you
And
guys
this
know
is
what happens this issue, yeah?
yes, the certain
Yeah.
redhead shows up. Yeah,
Yeah. That's why I'm excited for it. MJ shows up
absolutely.
here. They're like, I can't wait for that. Every single time they've ever teamed up, it's been really fun. And now
Yeah,
obviously she's Venom, so that's gonna bring a very major
yeah.
Yeah.
different spin to what we've seen with her. So and G. Willow Wilson is a writer who knows continuity, that writes characters really well. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah.
I wish like you would have gotten into um Poison Ivy Cat
I
because
know.
I
Mm,
really
I'm
do
gonna
think
trade that, I think, because it's
I
one I
think you
really
would
missed.
really like it
Mhm.
as it deals with Poison Ivy, not just with um Harley in this series. Like she has another love interest by the name of Janet, and Harley actually shows up at the end of this issue,
mm,
not for like they know they are broken up, like it is a thing, but it's just like it's just a gorgeous book. Like the way the artist draws her, it deals with the green and just all this other stuff. Like it's such a beautiful book in so many ways. It's awesome. I definitely would recommend this. I think I started it in the beginning. I fell off of it when in came out. That's when I jumped back on board, and I'm happy I did because it is a phenomenal read. You hardly ever see Batman in there, if at all. And I think that's what's great about it because it doesn't rely on Batman to
mm.
help its sales,
Is she
know?
on it much longer? Because that's always the fear, like, you jump on and then it's just about to end, and then I
I
just pick up
don't
the trade.
know,
Uh-huh.
but like I would jump on a trade and
Yeah,
just
read it from
read
there.
it. I mean, I think you might like it. It's really good. I just have so much fun with it.
And I love
I
a series that you just miss, because I feel like for us especially, we read a lot of books and we tend not to miss titles. So it's just like, oh yeah, it's cool to read, know that there's 40 issues of something that I probably will enjoy. So yeah, next time I'm at a show or something, I feel like I'll pick up a couple of trades of Poison Ivy because I do think I'd
yeah,
like it. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, is that issue 40? Where do you jump
Yeah.
on when it's not an arc that they're promoting? Because it's also a
Right.
series that like sells on the covers, so they don't really say this is a jumping on point, or else I would
yeah.
have been like, yeah, why not try it out?
I too jumped on it at the beginning, and then I fell off, and then for the longest time, I just got it for the covers,
Mm.
and yeah, and then I just stopped that altogether too. So, but you keep talking about it, Mike, and you got me curious now too. I looked it up. It was originally supposed to be a mini series, and they extended it.
Originally, yeah.
Yeah,
And then yeah, and then it's just I don't know, it's just one of those books that's really good. And then Harley's written like better in this as well. She's not like these jokey, crazy characters. She's a little bit more serious. And
yeah.
um again, I stress the artwork. When you have the main artist on there, it's one of the most beautiful books to look at. So
Let us know when if there's a jumping on point issue, and we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm
I
always
would
looking for good stuff.
say
Mm.
maybe this issue might be.
Is it this
Uh
week? It's coming out.
um I don't know.
Let
They
me look
just
it
came
up.
out with an issue just recently. I don't
Poison
know if it was this
Ivy.
week or whatever, but it just basically ended a story arc here.
Let's
Or
see.
yeah, I think it is. I
Yeah,
think
January 7th. So
Okay.
yeah.
yeah, it looks like it's in. All right, I'll pick it up when it comes. Yeah, new
You might
chapter
want to
in
like
Poison Ivy's life. So
you
why
might
not?
Okay.
want to pick up this like most recent
Mm,
issue
just
as
this
it
week.
has to deal with them defeating this like godlike tree creature,
Mhm.
and her girlfriend Janet was dying, and she basically feeds the dead corpse to the girlfriend Janet, and she doesn't realize that that's what it is, but it heals her. And there's a lot of like sexual tension between the two characters, and they actually have a relationship. And the way it's written, it's so beautiful because it's like it's this moment in time where you just forget everything around you, right? And they're talking about that shared relationship that they have with each other. And then when that moment is done, guess who shows up? It's Harley.
Harley, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's really cool. So I would get the most recent issue that just came out, and then I would jump on the next issue. I
All
think
right.
that's what I would do.
I'm gonna check it out. And again, it looks pretty new reader friendly from the description. So always
Yeah.
looking for good comics. So we'll definitely check that out. It seems like a couple people missed out on Poison Ivy, but maybe if we cover more on the show, we'll again get more people reading.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, that was all the top 3.
And that's it, right?
All right.
All
And again,
right,
a little
guys.
longer of a show because it's our
Yeah.
last one for the year, and we added a couple stuff. Hopefully, you guys liked it and appreciated it.
And that will do it. So happy 2025 to you. Enjoy the holidays. Happy New Year. We'll be back hopefully that first week of January.
Probably for our
And,
most anticipated
For the
topic.
year.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yep.
like what we're looking forward to and like what we want to
Yep.
see from comics. So look forward to
Yep.
that.
Absolutely. So great year once again. And I can't believe another year has gone by. It's crazy, man. It's so fast, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and we appreciate all you guys taking the time to watch. And all I can say now is happy new comic book day and enjoy the rest of the year. Happy holidays. Guys, we'll see you all next year. Take care, everyone.